Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another podcast. I know I needed yesterday off, and I'm sure you did too, Deuce. How you doing?
I'm good. Monday hangover was in full effect this week. Getting my voice back. Finally got a good night's sleep, so ready to go today on a Tuesday.
Podcast really stepped it up, sending you out to Minnesota for the Ryder Cup. How was it?
That's something that every golf fan's got to do. I wasn't really sure what to expect just because sometimes live golf isn't as good as TV golf, but the team matches, the atmosphere, when you get there, you expect to hear roars, but the roars that you hear are so much louder than you think they're going to be. You can feel it through your body. It's incredible. Great experience. I can see myself wanting to go to a bunch more of these.
Your overall impression of the course? I know you were there for Friday and Saturday, and then you watched it on TV Sunday. Overall impression live, and then the course impression on TV Sunday.
Yeah, I think this course was set up well. It was set up for excitement. The rough was non-existent, but if you did hit it offline, Hazeltine does have some penalties. There's some out of bounds. There's some water. There's some trees. So you can make birdies if you're playing well, as we saw, and you can get in trouble. We saw a couple holes conceded right off the tee. The course looked fantastic live. We've played a bunch of courses ourselves, pretty nice ones, but you could tell the weather cooperated beforehand. The weather was beautiful when I was there. There was not a blade of grass out of place there, so I haven't heard any complaints from the players except for Justin Rose saying it's set up too easy, but I think that might just be a little bit of salt in the wound there.
How was it overall as a sports experience? I know you've been to a bunch of live events in your life. How did this compare?
Yeah, it's a little different. You can, follow the group if you want. It's much harder because, especially the Friday and Saturday, there's only so many matches, so you got, 40 people deep on some holes. We did a little of both, and we sat at 15 grandstand on Saturday and just waited for groups to come through, and I have to tell you, it was awesome. They have big jumbo screens so you can watch the action until it gets to your hole. You pile a couple beverages next to you, and when they do come through, it is unlike anything you'll ever see. U.S. Open, obviously the Masters is different. Football game, college football, it's totally different, especially if you're an American on American soil. So, must go if you're a golf fan.
Was it as wild live as it sounded on TV?
It's times 10, if you can even imagine that.
To the actual competition, your takeaways from that?
Finally got it done, so I can't say that I'm surprised because I thought we would eke it out barely, but I'm a little surprised that we won by the margin we did. It was probably closer, though, than the score indicates. I think that both teams are in a really good position for years to come. I know before, a couple weeks ago, we talked about this. I think this was a transition year for Europe, and you clearly saw that with Thomas Pieters going undefeated and Lee Westwood going defeated. So a transition year for them. I think a transition year for America, too. Obviously, Tiger being a vice captain, although I think you'll see him on another team. Phil, that's probably the last one. Furyk and Stricker are probably done. So I think you're going to see these two teams really backfill with young talent. And, boy, these kids are going to really play. It's going to be awesome for the next 15 years or so.
Two things that you touched upon that I want to further ask you about. Tiger, being around this, do you think that this puts a lot more fuel in his system to get back out there?
Yes. No, I was shocked at how many positive comments / how all the guys kind of gravitated towards him. Even Phil and him looked like best friends when they were walking around. From what I have heard, Phil and Tiger were sort of the pseudo in the background de facto captains. Wouldn't be shocked if you see Phil and Tiger both get multiple captaincies going forward. Tiger apparently was the one who, after Patrick Reed and Jordan lost, Jordan Spieth lost in the morning round, sent them back out on Saturday, going against what Love wanted to do. So I think this energized Tiger. Now, will his body hold up? That's a different story.
You mentioned Thomas Peters. He was certainly a big surprise to me. Your surprises and disappointments?
Peters, maybe a little surprising that he went undefeated, but no surprise to the hardcore golf fans. You know, he hits it longer than almost anybody. He's out there with DJ type of length. Good short game. People forget he went to University of Illinois. He won the NCAAs. He's gone deep in the USAM a bunch of times. He won 3 times in the Euro Tour this year, so that, you know, he can play. That wasn't much of a surprise to me. It shouldn't be a surprise, but I think Sergio played a lot better than I thought he would. I thought this was the year his putter would go in the Ryder Cup, but man, he was getting heckled to death, and he just played awesome. So Sergio playing that well was a surprise to me. I think Jordan Spieth's struggles are a bit surprising too. He did not play well. I know his record is 2-2-1. That was kind of on the back of Patrick Reed. And Spieth is now 0-4 in Ryder Cup / President's Cup singles matches. So match play might be a little bit of a bugaboo for him.
You had touched upon Sergio. The putts that him and Phil made on Sunday, when normally you see them miss some of those putts, I thought that was one of the better golf spectacles we saw all year.
I could not agree more. Rory and Reed match was also great, but the only reason that match was getting talked about is because of the showmanship that was going on. The Sergio-Phil match, if you're just looking at it from a golf perspective, they outplayed Rory and Reed by a lot. I think, going back, maybe there was a match in 81, I think, but I think that could have been the greatest singles match we've ever seen in Ryder Cup history.
As much as I wanted Phil to win, I know that was one of our official picks, but it was fitting the way that it did end, with them both making birdies on 18 to have the match.
It was Phil made 9 birdies. Sergio birdied the last 4 holes. They shot the best ball 15 under, I think, 14 or 15 under, and they shot a worst ball 68, which is just absurd if you think about it.
If Phil never contends again, it's probably a fitting way for him to go out with the match with Sergio, and then looking back on the British Open with Stenson, playing unbelievable but coming up short. Probably the story of Phil's career.
Agreed. He had a really good year this year, but you have to be a little concerned about him going forward with the motivational aspect. I'm sure he thinks he can make one more run at a team, 2018 in Paris, but we'll see.
It seemed to me, especially off the tee, where Phil seems to get in trouble, that whenever he hits the cut, he keeps it in play or keeps it in a playable position. Why does he stray so far away from the cut sometimes to try and hit that draw?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think it's hard when you've been a long hitter your whole career to give up that distance to some of the young guys that can hit it 20 past you if you don't try to hit that sling and draw. I think he's having trouble right now with the fact that he's not going to be able to get it out there with those kids every time and transitioning to a different type of game.
Did Davis Love do anything to win it, and did Darren Clark do anything to lose it?
You can always nitpick captains, pairing, stuff like that. I actually thought neither captain did anything terribly wrong. If I was going to pick on Darren Clark, I thought his Saturday afternoon matches pairings were a little bit interesting. I'm not sure I would have gotten so many rookies out there. I just don't think I would have put Westwood out there seeing his putting from earlier in the day. The one thing I did like from Davis Love was his singles card on Sunday. I thought he was very smart, putting some fire at the beginning. and then really loading up in the middle so that Europe couldn't just put 9 flags on the board right away.
After seeing Stenson at the British Open and then his performance Sunday, is his ball striking and overall game underrated when we think about best players in the world?
I don't think his ball striking can be underrated because I think that's, you probably could make an argument for Sergio's ball striking, but Stenson probably has a little bit higher gear than Sergio when it comes to that. But when Stenson's making putts, I mean, man, he's really hard to beat.
Did the new system for America, as far as the captain's picks, work?
I couldn't answer that for you because I'm not really sure what the new system was. I guess Ryan Moore was the hottest quote-unquote player coming in, so if that's how you want to say new system, I guess. He played okay. I don't think he played great. I thought he played okay. I think if Bubba was on the team and JB Holmes wasn't, I still think the outcome would have been the same. So I'm not really sure what the task force really did here. I think the task force isn't for picking the players. I think it should be set up for grooming future captains, kind of like Europe does. Their future captains are involved 6-8 years beforehand, so when they are ready to be captain, they already know what's going on.
2 final thoughts from me. Looking ahead, the President's Cup to me seems so much less than what the Ryder Cup is. I would love to see them go just to the Americans playing youngsters to get them ready for the Ryder Cup. I think it would make it that much more exciting to watch. And then my last thought, more of a question, are we going to see Tiger in a couple weeks?
So with the President's Cup, I've been kicking around ideas with how to make that better. I'm not sure how yet. It's never going to be the Ryder Cup just because it doesn't have the history yet. I do think it will become more competitive, especially with Asia. Golf in Asia starting to really boom. You're starting to see some younger Asian males become really good players, so I think it's going to be a lot more competitive in the coming years. The problem I have with the young team, let's just say you made it an under 30 team, is that you don't get the kind of trial and error pairings with the vets that are going to be on the team. I don't know how on the Ryder Cup team that is. So I don't know how big of a deal that is, but probably something you got to think about. I think they just got to go to more interesting venues. If you look at the upcoming President's Cup venues, who cares about some of them? I don't get. I think Quail Hollow's on there, maybe. Some, regular boring courses. You got to get something interesting to make it different than the Ryder Cup. I'm not quite sure how to do it yet, though. And in regards to Tiger, he's in the field. They asked him at the Ryder Cup. He said, right now he's still not 100% sure if he's going to play. He said he feels about 90% health-wise. I think you'll see a decision Sunday or Monday, but I would not be shocked if he waits a little longer.
Any other thoughts from the golf world or the Ryder Cup?
This season starts 2 weeks. I am already starting a season-long golf draft. Early on, update, I went Jordan Spieth with the 4th overall pick, and I got your boy Henrik Stenson coming back on the snake at pick number 16, so feeling okay about that.
Any thoughts on the Dunhill Masters this weekend?
I haven't looked at it yet. I know it's at St. Andrews, so that'll be good on TV. I know that. You might have to get Davey Trump to give Euro Tour advice.
The only thing I know is Beef Johnston's in the field, and he's 350 to 1 to win it.
You'll see Beef Johnson on the PGA Tour next year. He qualified through the Web.com Tour playoffs, so I think he has a tour card for next year. So you'll see a lot more of him.
I believe that's this weekend, the final of the Web.com Tour Championship, or was it that last?
Yes, it should be. Yep, this coming weekend.
So we got that in the golf world. Anything else?
That's all. 2 more years until the greatest spectacle in sports, greatest sports day when it's combined with an NFL Sunday.
Give me an early lean on 2 years from now.
I think 2 years from now you'll see the American team look very different. I think you'll see many of the same faces on Europe, minus Lee Westwood. But I think you'll see all of the same guys almost. I think in 2 years it'll be flipped, and you'll see 3 or 4 or 5 rookies for America. Biggest thing in 2 years is that I don't know the exact name of the course, Le Golf National in Paris. They play it once a year in the Euro Tour, so big advantage for the Europeans. And that course is brutally hard. Usually winning score is slow single digits under par. I think you gotta favor Euros when it's like that. So I think the excitement level that you saw this week with birdies, not gonna see it in Paris.
So that's that for the golf world. Switching gears to the NFL. Your overall thoughts after week 4?
I have no feel for what's happening this season. That's my biggest thought. A lot of teams that we thought were going to be good aren't. And then there's still some teams with good records that I still don't think are good. So, instead of years past where by week 4 or 5 you know who's good, you know who's not, I kind of think this year we're going to have to wait until 7 or 8 to see who's really good.
I'm glad you brought that up after week 4 with basically the first quarter of the season done. I wanted to do a quarterly report with you. Want to go through the teams. I'll say their records. You tell me if they're good or not.
Oh, man. There's got to be a third option here, I think. Buy, sell, or hold? How about that?
Perfect.
All right.
We'll start in the NFC East. Eagles 3-0.
Oh, I'm buying every share possible. Also, I want you to buy, sell, or hold here as well. I'm all in on the Eagles, by the way. Like, I would put some money on the Super Bowl.
Small buy right now because I do believe in the quarterback.
Oh, yeah, there we go. You're on board.
Dallas Cowboys 3-1.
I'm selling, actually. I know they went to San Francisco and won, but I don't believe in the Niners. I'm a seller.
I'm selling as well. I do not like that defense, and the schedule gets tougher. I think we'll see what Prescott really is. Cincinnati, Green Bay, Philly, the next 3 games for him.
I mean, can they really just run a bootleg, play-action bootleg every single play for 16 games? They can't. There's no way that can continue.
And is Des Bryant going to play again this year?
I don't know. Is he going to be a Cowboy at the end of the year?
It just gets more murkier as the days go by with him and his future.
It's bizarre. I would not be shocked if he's on another team next year.
New York Giants.
Money they could have to spend with no Romo, no Dez.
Does Romo get his job back this year?
if Dak wins 1 more game, 2 more games, I think no.
Do they pull a Denver type scenario when Peyton Manning got healthy last year and just keep saying that he's not healthy yet, he needs more time?
Yeah, I can see that. I think the Cowboys are going to become the Seattle Seahawks of 4 years ago when Russell Wilson's contract was so freaking cheap that they can build the rest of their roster once they get rid of Tony Romo.
New York Giants 2-2.
I'd sell the Giants. Something's wrong with their offense. They can't run the ball.
They cannot run the ball, and Ben McAdoo looks like he's in over his head to me.
Agreed.
I sell as well. Washington Bravehearts.
Sell. Their defense is atrocious.
I'm holding because to me they're the second best team in the NFC East, and the NFC is wide open right now.
Okay, that's a good point. If Carson Wentz gets hurt, I like the Hearts in that division, so I guess I have to hold.
NFC North, Minnesota Vikings 4-0.
Obviously, buy. I pumped their defense in the offseason. It's the only thing basically I got right so far. Big buyer.
You have to buy. I do think they're better off without Peterson. They spread it around. They're more of a West Coast type system now. And Bradford looks good if he can stay healthy.
You know what I really like about them? It's only taken 8 years and bringing on North Turner. Hello, Kyle Rudolph. Like, I feel like the guy's been in the league forever and no one's ever used him right.
I like their complement of wide receivers as well. It seems like they have a guy, a possession guy, a speed guy, and a little bit of a hybrid with Patterson.
Yep.
Green Bay Packers 2-1.
them going, winning the NFC.
I agree with you. Chicago Bears 1-3.
Obviously, they're the top 7 pick.
Detroit Lions 1-3.
Huge sell. I'm shocked that people like them coming into the year.
This will be the interesting division. NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons 3-1.
Christ. First of all, how do you let one of the best receivers in the league get 300 yards on you? I have no idea. Quadruple team them, I don't care. I still have to sell. I can't. How about a hold on them? I'm going to hold. I want to see more.
I'm selling. Their defense is all-time bad. Here's their next.
You still think Mike Smith is going to walk through that door?
Their next 4 games, when we reconvene at week 8 for the half-season report. Here's their next 4: at Denver, at Seattle, San Diego home, Green Bay home.
I think they go 2-2 there.
Wow.
Here's why I'm holding. I know we hate the Atlanta Falcons as a collective podcast here. I'm really impressed how much improved their offensive line is. Alex Mack was a great signing. I don't love Devontae Freeman just in a bubble, but I love the combo of Coleman and Freeman. I kind of like their offense all of a sudden.
Well, we'll see how good the offense is the next 2 weeks on the road in Denver and Seattle. I'm selling.
Don't lose both those games.
Carolina Panthers 1-3.
Hold. Let's not totally freak out yet, but their secondary without Josh Norman looks atrocious.
I think I'm selling.
Oh wow.
I don't like the defense without Norman. I don't think they have Kuechly's a great player, but he's not a great pass rusher. They don't have a pass rusher, and I don't think that there's anybody on the offense that the opposing defense fears. Teddy Ginn's your speed guy. Kelvin Benjamin is a nice player, but I don't think anybody fears him.
No, it's the same offense as last year. The difference is that they just pounded it down people's throats. I don't think their offensive line is playing to the same level. Jonathan Stewart being hurt obviously doesn't help. Their secondary concerns me. I'm going to hold, though, just another couple weeks.
New Orleans Saints 1-3.
So, they all-time bad defense.
Yeah, agreed. As we said in the preview, it's time for
Another
Breeze.
note on the Saints, Jarius Byrd, maybe one of the worst free agent signings in NFL history.
Time for Breeze and Peyton to move on and start over.
Agreed.
This one hurts. 1-3, the Wagon, the Buccaneers.
I'm a big seller. Their defense is very bad, especially on the back end. Doug Martin being hurt has killed their offense. They can't run the ball at all. And Jameis is not ready yet to put the entire team on his shoulders. Has
Jameis regressed, or are the weapons around him not as good as we thought?
I think the weapons aren't as good. Doug Martin, people can say all they want, but he's had a really good 3-year career so far. I think when you lose the threat of the run, and your only target is Mike Evans, what are you supposed to do? Vincent Jackson's a 33-year-old guy who was never fast. Your tight end just got cut. Your athletic tight end just got cut. So, teams are going to roll coverage to Mike Evans, and then what do you got?
Do they take a look at Justin Forsett, who was just released?
Wow, Forsett released. That means Kenneth Dixon is coming back healthy. Why not Ray Rice, man? I don't know. I think gotta give Ray Rice a look at this point.
I think Donald Trump's considering him for the cabinet.
Department of the Interior.
I'm holding the Bucs one more week. I think it's a must-win for Tampa, Carolina. I think it's a de facto playoff game Monday night.
I totally agree. I think whoever loses is out.
NFC West. I can't believe I'm saying this. The LA Rams are 3-1.
So, they have a good defense. They'll get exposed by teams that have decent offensive lines. They've come across some teams that they can bully up front, and it showed. And I don't care who you are, you're not going to win if you have no offense, which you don't.
But
Although Little Nugget Case Keenum is now 6-3 as their starter.
Here's their next 3 weeks before their bye weeks, week 8. Buffalo at home, at Detroit, Giants at home. Those are 3 winnable games.
Yeah, I think it gets them a lot closer to 8-8. I think they're just going to reach 8 faster than we thought.
Yeah, that's my worry going back to the Buccaneers is Case Keenum just went to Tampa a couple weeks ago and lit them up.
Yeah, exactly.
Seahawks 3-1.
I buy big on the Seahawks. I think that's really impressive that they've gotten to 3-1 with what they're working with. Thomas Rawls hasn't played much. I think he's a way better back than Christian Michael. I don't think the defense has played up to what they can, especially the pass rush. And the offensive line has been a mess. So 3-1 where they're at, I think a very good win at New York last week. Bye.
Yeah, that was a fantastic win, and maybe they figure out how to use Jimmy Graham as well.
Yes, Jimmy Graham has had 2 or 3 good weeks in a row now. That is huge.
San Francisco 49ers 1-3.
So, their roster's terrible. I feel awful for Navarro Bowman, who ruptured his Achilles coming off of basically every ligament in his knee being torn. I have a feeling that might be the end of his career.
Why, after watching last weekend's game, why not Colin Kaepernick?
Well, your boy Chip says he's not healthy enough, so I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if he's on the team just to be an activist and you can't cut him because of that or what. It's a little bit of a weird situation brewing.
Interesting one here. Arizona Cardinals 1-3.
Hold. This is interesting, and you called this regression from Carson. That roster's too talented for me to sell yet. I am shocked at how their defense is played. I think their defense is way better than what it's showing. They need to get a pass rush, and really they need to score points because their offense hasn't played well outside of that one game against Tampa, which seems to be a theme. David Johnson's the star. They just need to get him the freaking ball.
Yeah, defensively is what I'm most shocked about. I did think we'd see a little bit of regression from Palmer, but not to be 1-3. They do have too many weapons on offense. They got to win Thursday night at San Fran, or they're in trouble.
Chris Palmer questionable with that concussion protocol, so we'll see.
I don't think Bruce Arians has done a great job play calling this year for how much he's been praised.
It's very weird. You would think if the deep ball's not there, you'd be able to adapt and go to something else, like one of the better running backs in the league, David Johnson, but they sure haven't at all.
To the AFC, the New England Patriots are 3-1 without Brady.
I mean, couldn't ask for more. I'm pretty surprised Jimmy G didn't play last week, but I'm assuming that shoulder's a little worse and they didn't want to risk their prized backup / his value the rest of the year. Obviously, you got to buy. Their defense worries me a little bit. If you look at the numbers, they're not getting much pressure on quarterbacks. That could become a problem as the season wears on because they usually have 2 or 3 big name guys on defense that go down. So we'll see how it plays out. But once Brady's back, Gronk's back, I really like LeGarrette Blount on this roster, so gotta buy.
We saw 6 quarters of Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you buy or sell Jimmy Garoppolo?
Huge buy. I would, if I was another team, I would give up some picks for him in a heartbeat.
Do we see in any given Sunday situation where Josh McDaniels goes somewhere and trades for Jimmy Garoppolo?
Oh, interesting. Never thought about that. I think Bill would not give him a discount. I guess it depends where he goes. I would need to see the destination. I think maybe more likely that we see a Green Bay Packers situation where they ask their legend / hero nicely to take a hike, and he goes elsewhere, plays for a year or two, or Peyton Manning, whatever scenario you want. The stats are pretty glaring, pretty damning. No quarterback after the age of 41 has done anything. They drop off like a cliff. Brett Favre, Peyton Manning. It just doesn't happen. So I think they know they have 2 years with Brady and that's it.
Obviously, I'm buying the Patriots. The Buffalo Bills are 2-2.
They've been impressive without Sammy Watkins, I will say. Long term, though, I'm still going to sell.
I think I'm going to hold. If they could get some of the defensive players healthy, the schedule's not overly terrible.
They get Marcel Darius back this week. Obviously, huge piece back. I still worry. I don't think Watkins is going to be healthy all year long. I just don't know if they can throw the ball well enough to win more than 8 games.
The Jets are 1-3.
So, quarterback, we called it 4 years ago.
Are we going to see Geno Smith?
God, I hope not. I mean, no, I hope not. He can't play. Maybe Bryce Petty? I don't know. They need a quarterback. If I were the Jets, I'd be calling New England about Jimmy G right now.
Would you? Obviously, they're going to have to pay twice the price. Would you do it if you're the Jets?
That's interesting because if you look at their roster, Forte, year or 2 left, max. Brandon Marshall, year or 2 left, max. They do put in Nunez, their third receiver does look like he's coming up. There's some really good players on defense. I think I would, actually.
Miami Dolphins are 1-3.
Sell. I think you'll see. I think you could see a new quarterback there next year.
Is Ryan Tannehill out of the league, basically?
He'll get one more shot. Their running game is pathetic. I know Lamar Miller got a good amount of money, but to let Lamar Miller walk and then replace him with Larry Foster not even playing because he's 40 years old, and Jay Ajayi, who's just awful. Don't think they did Tannehill any favors there.
AFC North, Steelers 3-1.
Bye. They're really good.
That's an easy one.
They would be so good if that receiver hadn't been, Martavis Bryant hadn't been axed for the year with the drug policy. They would be unbelievably good. I still worry a little bit about their defense, but Big Ben's playing at a high level right now.
Agreed. Baltimore Ravens 3-1.
Sell. Don't think they have the offense to sustain throughout the season. I think their defense will get holes poked in it eventually as well. The Raiders kind of showed that a little bit, especially on the outside. But I hate saying anything positive about that team, but good Lord, Steve Smith at age 79, can he still play?
Yeah, I'm with you, Selling. Their first 4 games were Buffalo, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Oakland. Not exactly world beaters. I think they'll get exposed as the year goes on, especially in the secondary. Cincinnati Bengals 2-2.
I'm buying. I know I'm staying on this from the preseason. I just think they have too much talent. I think they're starting to get the run game figured out. The loss of their D coordinator from last year, I think, is still bothering them. The defense has not been nearly what it was last year. I think they need to get that figured out, but I'm still a buyer. I'm
buying as well. Their schedule gets a ton easier as they move along. Their first 4 were at Jets, at Pittsburgh, Denver, Miami. So I think they'll get it right, and I do think they'll make a run at the division.
Agreed.
Cleveland 0-4. Other than Terry Pryor, major sell.
It's insane how much I hated Terry Pryor in college and how much I love him now. He's really good. He's a problem for quarterbacks. The length, strength, the size, the speed, he's really good, but man, do they suck. And the regression of Joe Hayden is almost shocking how bad he is now.
AFC South, Houston Texans 3-1.
Oh, man. They're going to win the division by default, but I'm a huge seller come playoff time.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
There's just, Osweiler just doesn't do it for me. I like Bill. Their weapons might be the best in the league. Will Fuller was a find. He's really good. Hopkins might be the best receiver in the league outside Antonio Brown. I still worry about their secondary, and I don't like the quarterback, so that's basically why I sell.
I'm with you. Jacksonville Jaguars 1-3.
So, Gus is going to get fired mid-season at some point.
It could have been last week, I think.
Yeah.
They have a bye this week. Coming out of the bye at Chicago, Oakland, at Tennessee, at Kansas City.
Yeah, not easy. I wouldn't call that hard, but not easy. I think if they had lost to Indy, you're right, he would have been canned. So he's living on the edge right now.
I know I asked this last week or 2 weeks ago, but could Bortles be saved under a different offensive coordinator, or is he done?
I did not love Bortles coming out. His physical tools are so good that what about something like you trade, this won't happen, but if you just switch Tannehill and Blake Bortles, I think I'd like Bortles a lot under Gase.
Yes.
Someone like that. I would not give up on Bortles yet, but man, he just makes some really stupid decisions.
I wish we could trade Adam Gase for Gus Bradley. Because Jacksonville has offensive.
Trade. I was sniffing around it, and you just hit it on the head.
They do have offensive pieces. I think that's an attractive destination for a coach.
They have defensive pieces too. They just don't play. It's weird. They don't play well together. I don't know what it is.
And they're in a great division with an owner who will spend money.
Right.
And swimming pools in the stadium.
Right. I guess the only way to put it, I hate to say this because we both like the hire of Gus Bradley. I think they're just a poorly coached football team.
Yes.
What we're getting at.
Indianapolis Colts are 1-3.
Should you trade Andrew Luck is now the question I'm seeing around the internet. Could you go out and get 4 first-rounders for him?
It's a major sell for sure. I guess my question would be, can they remake this roster in time to hit it in Andrew Luck's prime?
I don't know, because they have one of the worst rosters in the league. Everyone's healthy on offense. On wide receiver and tight end wise, I don't mind the T.Y. Hilton, Dante Moncrief, Philip Dorsett, Dwight Allen, but the offensive line is terrible. They were all draft picks, I believe, and they all keep getting turned over, so that tells me the GM's awful, the coach is not good, and the defense is just atrocious. They have no talent on defense, so you got to clean house with the management and coach and hope that in 3 drafts that you can kind of stockpile enough talent and supplement it with free agency that Andrew Luck has a chance, but I don't know. I think the window is close.
I'm waiting for one of these weeks Ryan Grigson to take the podium at a press conference and pull off the mask, and it's Billy King. He is an atrocious general manager.
Yeah, and I feel terrible carrying the Evans family name that my little brother, Thunder Dan, keeps picking him. He's just, Grigson's fooling him, he's fooling everybody. I don't know what it is.
I'm going to read you their draft picks. You tell me if you ever heard of any of them. Ryan Kelly, the center from Alabama. Obviously, you heard him because he
not been good.
Played in some big games. But T.J. Green, safety, Clemson.
No.
LaRaven Clark, tackle, Texas Tech.
No. Do they have tackles in the Big 12?
Hassan Ridgeway, defensive tackle, Texas. Antonio Morrison, linebacker, Florida. Joe Haig, tackle, North Dakota State. Trevor Bates, defensive end, Maine. Austin Blythe, center, Iowa. That's horrendous.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about those. Those are bad. Here's the question. What could you get for Andrew Luck? I'm going to assume it's probably 4 first-rounders.
At least 2, maybe 3. 4 might be much.
I think it's probably 3 first and then maybe some more picks, 2nd and 3rd. I think he's that valuable still.
So
would it be easier to do that and build your team like Minnesota right now, whose entire defense is young and all are 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round picks, or hold on to him and build, with your 1 pick around each year? Which is faster?
Yeah, because the way that he gets beat up, his prime's only going to last a year.
That's the thing. I mean, he's going to have 2 or 3 years cut off his career.
And
if you win with someone like Bradford, that type of guy, and build your roster in 3 or 4 years, stockpile it full of talent. The problem is you got to have a GM that knows talent.
Getting banged up is one thing, but his shoulder, he's not gonna have an arm in 2 years. He's gonna look like Peyton Manning last year.
That's a good point, actually, because their offensive line does stink. But there's got to be a point where you protect yourself. Like, and if you watched the game last night, if Eli sniffs he's about to get hit, he chucks the ball right in front of his feet. Like, he doesn't care. He does not want to get hit.
If I'm Andrew Luck's agent, I'm not letting him play the rest of the year.
He brings some of it on himself. He takes some huge shots by waiting for those deep routes to develop. I agree with you. I think I would sit him out knowing you're not going to be good.
Yeah, it's not a pretty situation. I remember 3 years ago saying that Indianapolis was so spoiled having Peyton Manning X amount of years and walking right into Andy Luck. They're going to win 1 Super Bowl with that combination.
And that shows you how bad the GM's been.
Tennessee Titans are 1-3.
Sell. Mariota's not as good as I thought he was.
I'm holding only because I think if they just ran the ball every play, they could compete for this division.
Just 35 carries to DeMarco and 30 to Henry.
DeMarco Murray's looked fantastic this year.
Yeah, he's keeping Henry off the field, which is shocking to me because I thought he would get 10 to 12 a game. I agree with you. I think if you literally ran the ball every play, they'd be more successful than what they're doing. Now, granted, they don't have many weapons on the outside.
Here's their next couple weeks. At Miami, Cleveland at home, Indianapolis at home, Jacksonville.
They have a chance to go on a run here. It's shades of last year all over again with Houston.
If they beat Miami this week, I might be buying stock.
Are we allowed to? I think we did it last year. Are we allowed to jump on a wagon mid-year and abandon ship on our other one? Literally abandon the Buck ship?
If they lose this week, I don't think we have a choice.
I think we're going to do that because we saw the Houston train coming last year and we abandoned and got on it.
To the West, Denver 4-0.
Bye. That defense is just so freaking good. It's unbelievable. And if you're picking players in the league, I'm not sure Von Miller gets past 6 or 7.
I'm holding. I don't buy Trevor Siemian still.
I like Trevor Siemian, actually. I like the way the ball comes out of his hand. I know it sounds weird, but I like it.
He's on my list of quarterbacks that I'll never buy. Carson Palmer's on it, and so is Brock Osweiler. I don't care if they go 16-0. I'm not buying Trevor Siemian.
All right.
Oakland's 3-1. The X-Wagon.
I'm holding on Oakland because I do not like their defense at all. It's atrocious.
I think they're in a similar situation to Atlanta. Maybe not as dire. There you have to outscore teams.
Yes, exactly.
Kansas City Chiefs are 2-2.
I'm buying the Chiefs. They're getting one of the premier defensive players back in 2 or 3 weeks. I still think they're working some things out on offense. Jamal Charles finally played a couple snaps. I'm buying the Chiefs.
I agree. I think their schedule gets easier. Andy tends to get better as the year goes on. I think they'll be fine.
Great.
The Chargers are 1-3.
Phil Rivers probably should move on.
Is Mike McCoy the favorite to be fired first?
I think it's him or Gus Bradley. I think Chuck Pagano might be a sneaky one.
They should have beat Kansas City. They blew a 37 lead. They should have beat Indianapolis. They fumbled on their own 10, trying to run the clock out.
Yep.
And they had New Orleans beat. They could be 4-0 right now.
Should be. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, so I got to sell, and I think McCoy's fired first.
As our boy Bill Parcells says, you are what your record says it is.
And that, to me, has to go to coaching, with all the injuries especially. They've been in every game.
They have the same injury injuries every year, so I feel like at some point, it's got to be on the coach.
I'm glad you touched upon how weird of a year this has been. We're currently 15-19 on the year. Well, some of those have been Ryder Cup picks, but 0-3 in the NFL. And I feel like we were on the sharp side every game this weekend.
Joe Public is in Vegas spending lots of cash right now, I would assume. I have to hope and wish that this is just a big fishing pole. They're reeling them in, they're letting them spin, and they're going to get beat at some point.
I'm thinking next year we go crazy week 1 and one pick week 2, 3, and 4 when all these young guys are playing and you see who is good and who's not.
I agree. I'm bamboozled right now this year.
Yeah. Last night...
I'm just very surprised that some of these veteran teams are losing.
Last night was your prototypical Giants, everybody's down on them, and they come out and win. And they looked horrific last night.
Yeah, I will say I did not know that. I thought Rashard Jennings and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie were both going to play. Both did not. No excuse, but those are two pretty big pieces on the road.
Is Odell Beckham a little bit overrated?
No, I think I would take him behind Antonio Brown on a receiver. I think he's just a little immature.
Okay. To guess the lines for the week, believe it or not, last week was a tie.
Wow.
6-6-2 last, or 6-6-3 last week. So it's 1-1-1 on the year. We start Thursday night. Cardinals at Niners. I said Cardinals -6.
I had Cardinals -3.5. I know I didn't write it on the paper I sent you, but that was because Carson Palmer was questionable, so I kind of put that in the line.
You got it. It opened 4. It's down to 3. If you just want to give a lean, we'll be back later this week with official picks, or give me some thoughts now, whatever you wish.
If Carson plays, I lean Arizona. I don't have a feel right now until his health is cleared up.
Sunday, Houston goes to Minnesota. I said Minnesota 4.5.
I had Minnesota 6.5.
Open 6, currently 6. You got that one.
Actually, might lean Houston there just because of the huge emotional Monday night win Minnesota's coming off of.
Yeah, it would make sense based on what you just said. Minnesota does have a bye week next week, so could be kind of a lethargic game for them this week.
Yeah.
Titans at Miami. I said Miami -2.
I had Miami giving the field goal.
Miami -4 was the open. It's currently 3.5. You got that one.
I'm hot this week. No real lean here yet. These are two bad teams that have some talent, which always scares me.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I got to see what happens with this line. Tommy returns to the dog pound. I said New England -13 because of my Tommy love.
Tommy! I said New England -8, and I'm not sure what I was thinking now that I'm thinking.
Well, you were thinking correctly. It opened 7.5. It's jumped to 10.5. You're rolling right now.
7.5? That's gotta be a mistake. No wonder it got bet up so quickly. I mean, maybe there's some rust. Is Cleveland the play here?
I don't.
Or does Tom Brady just immediately come out of the gate and throw 8 touchdowns and give the middle finger to Raj?
I could see like a 49-3 Patriots win.
I don't think you see one of these games maybe every 2 seasons where there's no in between. It's either going to be 49-3 or the Browns have a chance to win at the end of the game.
Is there a chance that Brady comes back and is not Tom Brady anymore?
That I do. If you're telling me to put a percentage on it, I think it's about 10%. I can't remember where I heard it, but I heard it on the radio and I went back and looked at some of the big names. The 41-year-old quarterback thing is real. It just happens one day. You're just not good. It's going to happen to Brady. I'm just not sure when it is. There's a chance it could be right now.
This is an emotional year for everybody then. We
Yeah,
lose
exactly.
we lose Muhammad, we lose Arnie, we lose Vince Scully. Now you're telling me Tom Brady might not be Tom Brady?
Might not be much point in watching sports anymore after that.
Oh, I agree though.
I mean, what if Tiger comes back too and second swing just his back
That's
just
it.
explodes?
You're right. Sports may be over.
I know we were both in our younger days not big Tiger fans, but we've grown to appreciate what he was and how different he is than the kids now. This could be an awful year in sports.
Jets at Pittsburgh. I said Pittsburgh -6.
I had Steelers giving 7.
I finally get one. It opened 6, jumped to 7.
I want to like the Jets here. I want to. I think it's a must-win game for them. Le'Veon Bell just looks so damn good coming back that I don't know if I can do it yet. I'll have to wait and see where the line goes. If you can give me that 7 and a hook, I might go Jets.
Everything leans towards the Jets with that 43-point showing Sunday night. The whole world sees it. Fitzpatrick has played Fitzpatrick-like for 2 weeks. If he's going to have a good game, that Steelers defense, he could have one. If Decker's healthy.
Yeah, Decker not being out, I think, is big. I would love to get that hook, though, for some cushion.
Yes. Bravehearts go across the state to the Ravens.
You know, it's only 20 miles, but it's probably going to take them 4 hours to get there in the Beltway. I had the Ravens giving the home 3.
I had the same. We tie. Open 4 down to 3.5.
If you're giving me the hook, I kind of lean the Hearts. I think it's going to be a field goal game. I don't believe in either defense. I think the Redskins' defense is worse, but I think their offense is a little better, so I don't really have a pick here yet.
I like the Hearts. As we talked about, I think the Hearts could really exploit that secondary of Baltimore. As we talked about also, I think Baltimore is not a 3-1 team.
They are usually good at home. The 3.5 though would not make me feel good betting on the Ravens here.
To Detroit, where the Eagles coming out of their bye. Go.
I had Eagles. Where are they at? 2.5.
I said Detroit -1. It opened Detroit 2.5. It is now Philly -3.
Fish money coming in on Philly. Love Philly in this game.
I have no opinion. I'm so scared.
Yeah, you do. You know you do. Come on.
I'm scared after Detroit lost to Chicago. I wanted Detroit to beat Chicago. I would like Philly.
I love breaking news. Antonio Cromartie released by the Colts. Just FYI. I like Philly a lot here. Detroit's defense is really bad. Detroit's offense is really bad. I think the Eagles' defense is a top 5 defense now that Chip Kelly is gone. I don't think Detroit has the weapons to exploit Philly's secondary. I just don't. Maybe if Calvin Johnson's there. He's torched the Eagles before, but I think the Carson Wentz show rolls on.
I thought Detroit was the side, but there was a glimmer of hope today when I heard Jim Schwartz goes back to Detroit. And I hope they carry him off the field again.
That line move is insane. Come on, you gotta love your Eagles after seeing that line move.
The only thing they did, it's a good matchup for them. The worry is Detroit losing to Chicago last week.
That's what Detroit does, though. They're playing everybody off the lot. They lose every week.
To Indianapolis Colts, they host those Bears.
I got Colts giving 3. I'm assuming it's like more than that, though.
Yeah, I said Colts 2. It opened Colts 5. It's 4.5.
Yeah, that was stupid. I'm not sure what I was thinking there. Maybe the Colts get right here. It's kind of a no man's land line, though. I don't hate Chicago either.
No, I do think that Hoyer could make some plays.
I like Jordan Howard in this game a lot. I don't know if it's enough points, though, right off the bat. I want to see where this line goes.
Denver hosts Mike Smith's Falcons. I said Denver 4.
I had had Broncos 5.5. I'm not sure if Simeon's playing or not. We'll see.
This opened 7. It's currently 6, so you get this. Currently 6-2-1 the score on the week.
7. Wow. Neither one of us have been very close to them either. I'm just winning by default.
I like Denver.
I like Denver as well. I think they have the perfect defense to stop Atlanta's style of offense. Julio will get shut down by the lead.
Yeah, everybody's going crazy about Atlanta putting up 50 on Carolina. I don't think this is the same Carolina team. I think Denver's in a good spot here.
So do I.
The LA Rams host the Buffalo Bills in an interesting game.
I have the LA team -2.5.
I had the home 3. It opened 1.5. It's jumped to the 3. You get that one and clinch the week.
Man, I was just basically beating you Price of Right style today, not going over anything. I'm not sure what to think of this. I kind of lean Rams. They're both coming off of big wins. I think the Bills is a little bit bigger because Rex had never won in New England, hates Bill Belichick, all that. So I don't really feel good about either side here.
Is either team gonna score?
I do think this is a game where Tyrod Taylor's legs should be the difference in the game. But man, I don't know. These are kind of similar teams here.
Over under 39.5.
Oof. I mean, you gotta go under, right?
You would think so.
Gotta have a humongous pair to take that over.
Say San Diego goes to Oakland. I said Oakland -6.
I had the Raiders 4.5.
Interesting line to me. It opened 3.5. It's 4.
Yeah, this one, I think the in-division game plays a little bit, plays a role here. I think the Chargers should be 4-0, as you stated earlier. Plays a role here. I think I might like Philly Rivers in this spot.
He could light that Oakland secondary up.
That's kind of what I'm thinking here. Oakland played a 1 p.m. game on the East Coast, coming all the way back to get a little bit extra time, but not a ton. I lean Philly here. Philly Rivers.
Oakland had 2 straight games in the 1 o'clock time zone.
Yes, yeah, good point.
Dallas
They
count.
played in Baltimore too. I don't think to be understated, even though
That's correct.
like Baltimore, but knocking off an undefeated.
They had that emotional win. At New Orleans, they came back and struggled against Atlanta at home. This could be another one of those.
Great point.
Cincinnati at Dallas. I said Dallas -1.
What an awesome game this is from a betting perspective. I put pick'em. That's how unsure I am.
Since open Cincinnati -1, same Cincinnati -1.
I lean Cincinnati here. I just think they're the better team. That's all I really have to say.
I think this is a week that Cincinnati can figure that defense out.
They need to. I'm still a holder on Dak, but he presents some problems.
Sunday night, we get the shitty Giants again going to Green Bay.
I had Pack -4. Obviously, it's probably higher than that.
I had 5.5, opened 6.5, it's climbed to 7.
Man. I want to like the Giants again, but I got a bad taste in my mouth after last night.
Yeah, I thought they would win one of either last night or this week, but Green Bay coming out of the bye and how bad the Giants looked last night, I agree with you.
We'll see Thursday or Friday. I might be okay with liking the Giants.
Tampa Bay Monday night at Carolina in our de facto playoff game. Wagon on the line. 3 flat tires right now.
It's going to be a better game than it's going to be. I'm sure the NFL did too. I said Panthers give it the 7.
We tied this one. I had it at 5. Open 6. Still 6.
Carolina, which means we're needing to abandon ship.
I don't have a feel yet. I got to see Cam Newton's status.
Is your lack of feel reluctance to jump ship?
I don't want to do it.
I know. This could be one of those Panthers are 1-3 desperation games where, like, oh crap, maybe they are a good team after that performance last night type of deal.
It'll be interesting to see where this moves.
So do you like Carolina more if our boy Derek Anderson's playing?
No, because I don't really love their running game.
Do you love Carolina if our boy Jake Delhomme comes out of the tunnel?
Oh. I got to go sit down with a banker if he comes out.
Oh,
We'll be back later in the week with officials and further thoughts. Quick thoughts. MLB playoff start. You got hot town right now with Washington and Baltimore.
Yeah, Orioles playing tonight. That should be a pretty good game. Both pitchers aren't very good, so especially where they're playing. So we'll see how that goes. You can see some bombs in that game. I got some advice for your listeners. If you have extra money laying around, just bet it whatever you can against the Washington Nationals this postseason. Go ahead and do that. Buy yourself a little beach condo, maybe a membership to a golf club out by the shore, whatever you want.
Well, since you brought up the National League, any value or advice to sprinkle on anybody to win the pennant? Cubs plus 110, Nats plus 320, Dodgers plus 380, Mets plus 900, Giants plus 1,000.
That would be my sprinkle right there. The Giants plus 1,000.
I have them circled and starred.
I mean, it's an even numbered year. They're kind of that playoff rat team that always turn on the bats. Their pitching just all of a sudden becomes dominant. Plus 1,000 seems like a nice little $100 bet and take it to the bank.
This line worries me a little tonight. The Giants are only minus 106 at Mets, minus 104 with Bumgarner on the bump.
Yeah, that does seem a little low. Interesting. Maybe Vegas needs action on one side or the other. I don't know.
AL pennant, Sox plus 225, Texas plus 225, Indians plus 300, Toronto plus 500, O's plus 1,200.
I don't really see a ton of value there. If the O's bats heat up, they could probably carry them to the CS. I don't know if they can get all the way to the series, though, with their pitching. We'll see. I don't like them as much as the Giants sprinkle, but that might be another look-see-loo.
How about the odds on Giants-Orioles World Series plus 14,000?
Oh, wow. Get some car change out, plunk it down, and see what happens.
I agree.
I mean, I can see that happening. Others could slug their way on that side, if their bats get really hot, and the Giants could pitch their way, rack their way. I don't think it's that far-fetched.
2 series odds out already. Red Sox minus 170 to beat the Indians. Indians are plus 150.
No likes there.
Just a side note, Tito Francona, Indians manager, goes back to Boston for this series. And then here we go. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Dodgers minus 160, Nats plus 140.
Yeah, I like the Dodgers. Yep, well, the Dodgers. I think that you're getting value on the Dodgers there, I think. Kershaw will win both games. Strasburg has already been ruled out.
Kershaw's going Friday night against Scherzer. Kershaw minus 140, Scherzer plus 130.
We've seen Scherzer in big spots before come up pretty small. I mean, we've seen Kershaw do that too. I think that long rest in the middle of the year for Kershaw will prove to be very useful. I think they'll come out dominant, and as they usually do, the Ramos injury for the Nats is huge. He was playing really well. as they usually do, the bats go quiet come October here in Washington. That is what's going to happen again.
I think it's a really interesting series because both teams have been tortured the past couple of years.
Yeah, I would not expect anything if you're a Mets fan. I think maybe I'm just relegated to that. It's usually that when they played the Giants, it was Bryce Harper is the only one that could hit the ball, and they lost painfully there. And just never, everything seems to go wrong this time of the year, and it has with the injury bug already hitting them big time. I just don't think they have the bats and the arms right now to do it.
I think I might be able to talk you into Nats plus 140 for the series by Friday.
How much I don't know, man. Kershaw's so good. Scherzer is going to have to throw the game of his life and somehow outduel Kershaw 1-0, and then you can talk me into it.
Yeah, Kershaw's a pretty big favorite for baseball on Friday night. We'll see. Anything else before we reconvene later in the week?
Maybe a little Hidden Creek member guest preview next week. I need to start getting a little bit of grind on so I don't get killed in that, but no other real-life sports news.
Quickly, 4 top 25 games in college. Let me know if you have a lean early in the week here. Virginia Tech, number 25, goes to North Carolina. Carolina minus 2.5.
I lean Carolina. Their quarterback has played very well.
Tennessee goes to A&M. A&M minus 7.
Wow. My gut says I lean Tennessee early.
Yeah, that line's pretty high.
7? That almost seems smelly high.
Yes.
Maybe I should take A&M.
Bama at Arkansas. Bama minus 14.
No lean there, but if you could give me maybe another half or a point, I might sneak a little something on Arkansas. I love Arkansas for some stupid reason.
And Saturday night could have been better, but Florida State goes to Miami. Miami minus 3.
Yeah, this is a hard one to figure out because Florida State might just quit, but they're clearly the better team. So
I agree.
they're getting a ton of value if you feel safe with their team showing up.
Yeah, Miami's schedule so far: Florida A&M, Florida Atlantic, App State, and Georgia Tech.
Yeah, maybe you go with the angle that they get up for their in-state rivals, but who knows how much motivation they really have right now.
Great job by you today, buddy. Talk later in the week.
To you, to the host.
Talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.
See ya.
See ya.